Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me for a Signature Sundays episode here on the channel. Take a look at an autographed card from my baseball card, in this case, collection. And as you can tell by the backdrop and the title of the video, this is going to feature a childhood favorite player of mine, Will the Thrill Clark. He was, when I was growing up, he was one of the big three for me, sort of the triumvirate of my childhood collecting was Will, Nolan Ryan, and Cal Ripken Jr. And always just enjoyed Will's cards, his smile. He was at the time a superstar of the game in the late 80s, early 90s when I was first getting heavily into collecting as a kid. So he was, in every set, every insert set. Was pretty big, had a big following in the hobby and still does to this day. He's one of those players who's sort of, able to drive hobby sales and have a decent hobby following, even though he's not enshrined. There's a small group of retired players that I would put in that category, and Will, is certainly one of them. He does very, very well in the hobby, to this day, just because of a lot of people like me who grew up, in an era where he was one of the big stars of the game, and kind of are just nostalgic for that. And he was a very good player, even though he's not enshrined. So gonna feature a nice autograph of his that I picked up many years back now, honestly, coming up on a decade ago. I can't believe I'm saying that, but as the backdrop here, we've got this nice sepia Will Clark parallel that I just pulled out in a Rippin' with Leo installment recently. I think it might actually be an orange parallel, might be a little bit rarer. Still need to look that up and research it, but really happy to have pulled that one. I think it looks fantastic. And then more importantly, over on the right there, that is my slabbed copy of Will's 86 Topps Traded rookie card, which was a huge card for me growing up. I had, a copy of it in top loader in my shoebox of, star cards, which is where the name of this channel derives from. And it was definitely one of my most prized, card possessions when I was a kid growing up. Always treasured that card. It's not an expensive card. You can get one for probably in a $1 box these days. But I just love that one. It's a favorite of mine. And in the 2012 Topps Archive set, or Archives set, I should say, they sort of reimagined the 86 traded card, I guess, for Will. And not only that, but it was only available, I believe, in autographed format. And so I fell in love with this card instantly. It's a fan favorites auto out of the 2012 Archives release. And here you have it. So the lighting is maybe not ideal. I'll try to get some different light on this so you can see the signature up close. But obviously this features a different photograph than the original 86 traded card did. That's kind of the whole purpose of these fan favorites. They reimagine the original cards that came out with a new photo. Other than that, the design is pretty much to a T. The font is a little bit different on the player name, and the spacing of the font is a little bit different as a result. So it's not, a perfect replica, but nice shot of Will taking a cut here. The back was done as well, which I appreciate. They didn't just mail it in. Nice job by Topps doing this up proper with a cartoon, stats, write-up, everything you would expect to see on a Topps card back from the mid-'80s. So very accurate job here by Topps. And of course, the driving factor that makes this card cool is the auto. This is signed on card by Will. Nice, bold autograph. These are not serial numbered, so I have no idea how many of them were produced. They are somewhat rare, though, I can tell you. They're not a ton of them out there. I looked really, really quickly before shooting this video on eBay, and at the time, there was only a single copy of this available. I think it's like a $60 asking price, something like that. So not an impossible card, but a tough one, and one that I absolutely wanted to have in my small Will Clark collection. I don't aim to be a completist with Will Clark. I just have too many interests to get, very, very heavy into player collecting somebody, which is, a full-time job in this day and age. So I try to just get a few sort of higher end pieces like that I appreciate and take out and smile at every so often. And that is definitely chief among them. I used to have a few different Will Clark autos. I've sold some of them off years ago just because of what I mentioned. He always has a pretty good following and does pretty well. So I ended up, selling those to flip into something else years back. But I did keep this one and a couple others. And I think this is my favorite just because of the nostalgia. And it sort of kind of takes me right back to being a young kid in the early 90s and sitting in my bedroom, flipping through my shoebox and looking at that 86 traded Will Clark. And it's just really cool to have a redo of that he held in hand and signed himself. So cool one there. I'll cut it here and keep it nice and short this week. Definitely appreciate you stopping by, taking a look at my Will Clark auto. And I'll certainly be back in the near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care.